In today's Gospel, John shows himself to be a skillful narrator, and he assembles a large cast of characters: the man born blind himself, the bystanders, his parents, the Pharisees, and of course Jesus himself, who works the miracle. There is disagreement among the bystanders and between the different parties of the Pharisees, confrontation both with the man born blind and with his parents. All elements of a strong dramatic story. And there's a strong sense of the story having momentum going forward. A dramatic miracle and a good deal of humour. Imagine how the Pharisees reacted when the once blind man answers back, "I have told you already, and you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples?" Imagine their faces falling away in fury. There are various telling details in this story. For instance, the Pharisees say to the parents, "Is this your son who you say was born blind?" Not, "Is this your son who was born blind?" They are desperately exploring every possibility which would enable them to dismiss this unsettling story. They really do not know how to cope with this man. But it's not just a well-told story about a miracle. Jesus does something extraordinary, and therefore he must himself be extraordinary. God is working through him. Many people will be impressed. Others will not listen. John makes it clear the miracle is about something deeper than just the bringing sight to a blind man. Look at the first reading we had from 1 Samuel when we hear, "The Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." And so we see the blind man going on his own journey of faith, slowly moving from witnessing to the bare facts, the man called Jesus made mud and anointed my eyes, to a growing realization that he is a prophet. And then, if this man were not from God, he could do nothing. And after those various stages, we end with the magnificent declaration of faith, "Lord, I believe." And he worshipped him. His faith, his insight, which has come to him along with his sight, is strongly contrasted with the inability of the Pharisees to listen and to recognize. They are justly condemned by Jesus for their blindness, mainly because they are so adamant that they can see. After the discussion of whether this is the same man, some say yes, some say no, he just looks like him, the blind man himself says, "I am." The translation in the lectionary says, "I am the man." But the Greek says, more boldly, "ego eimi," just "I am." Almost blasphemy, using the phrase that Jesus uses about himself. Before Abraham was, "I am." And I am the light, the good shepherd, the bread of heaven. But it is not blasphemous. The blind man has been made new in Christ. Just as the first man, Adam, was created by God from what? From the dust of the earth, so the blind man has been cured of his blindness, enlightened, made a new creation by the Son of God using mud, dust of the earth again, and his own spittle. This becomes a central teaching of St. Paul. We are all renewed in Christ and shaped into his likeness at the moment of our baptism. Next week we'll have the baptism of William and Isabella, and that'll be their moment of becoming Christ-like. Once again we see that the readings during Lent are specifically chosen to prepare for those, some of whom are here today, who are to be baptized at Easter. Look back at the second reading from St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians. "At one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord." Let's look at what St. Paul doesn't say. He doesn't say, Once you were stumbling around in darkness, not able to see where you were going, not recognizing the presence of God. He says, you were darkness. You were the absence of light. You were unredeemed. And then he goes on not to say you are able to see where you're going in the reflected light of him who said, I am the light of the world. What St. Paul says is, you are light in the Lord. Everything that has been said about the man born blind and about his new ability to see and believe can also be said about us. Let us resolve to put away all those things in our lives which prevent us from seeing that truth. So it can be said to us, as St. Paul finishes that second reading, awake, O sleeper, and rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you.